Hello friends, hello class Human and Cultural Communications. How are you today? I hope you are feeling fine, feeling well and healthy, cheerful, love and anything you can get, especially for the best. Okay, today I will give you some review about human and cultural communications, especially the material after midterm examinations, because we have some presentations for the material and I hope you can get some insight about that, as we can see that the objective of this class or learning outcomes from this human and cultural communication is how you understand about the concept of human, also culture communications. Okay, the first material, I hope you still remember about social interactions or the dynamic of interpersonal communications and social interactions that I quote from Little John and Foss in 2009. There are some aspects that are key concepts about these social interactions. I hope you still remember that about meta-communications is not about the content but also the understanding. It means that everything that I said in this slides maybe, or that I said that to you, you're not just listen it, but you have to understand it, because we are also culturally bounded, we are also contextual and influenced by our frame of reference and field of experience like that, and it also related with how you interpret the message. And the next is one cannot not communicate, because when you choose to silence, or the silence itself, it's also interpret something, it also means something, or you can always decode or encode and decoding the meaning of silence as something bad, or you are angry with me, you met with someone else or anything else, or just as simple as you didn't invite it to someone's party, it also means something. So you cannot not communicate. And is it about the feedback? We have the model of communications, we have communicators and communicant, we have sender and receiver, we have also stimulus and response, and it gives you feedback. When I say that to you, hi, how are you? Mostly you say that I'm good, I'm not good, I'm feeling fine, like that. It's also about the feedback. And double bin, it means that when one family member receives two messages requiring contradictory actions at a single time. Maybe someone inside the family asks you to be a brave person, but it turns out you did that another coward actions like that. It's also confusing, and it means that contradictory actions. You can always digging about this concept of double bin. Okay, on the other slide, you can see the slide. There's a statement that think about how many structures in our lives are designed to promote social interactions. Your school, your neighborhood, your workplace, and malls maybe. It's all social settings in which we interact with other people. And there's also some statement that the importance of social interaction is often particularly evident to people who are stigmatized. Oh, this is so hard for me to pronounce this, but I hope you know the meaning about stigmatized. And I noted from the research of Floyd in 2011, maybe when you are putting on someone's shoes, you empathic to someone else, it also some manifestations of your social interactions. in some cases, there's also people with the stigma or stigmatized, like I said that before. People with HIV, maybe it's people tends to think that they are doing something wrong about the drugs or about the free sex person or any other stigma that put there, and the social interactions also giving you some hints, giving you some perspective that maybe not all people that are with HIV, it's not all it's about the drugs addict or something else. It's also important about how social interactions means significant to people who are stigmatized. Okay, so the next is about the dynamic of group or organizational relations. As you can see, we have some key concepts about organizational relations, and I hope you also feel about this, because I hope all the students or as a scholar you are joining some organization to feel something there. Is it their value? Is it that their rules? Is it their procedure and how you interact each other in each divisions on organization? There are also some key concepts that organizational communication is the process by which language and social interaction promote coordinate action toward a common goal. This is also good exercise for you as a student. How you are cooperate with each other, integrate something, and you reach a common goal as a maybe as a committee for the welcoming new students. You are also have some objectives. You are helping hand in hand with each other to follow or to reach your goal. And there are also some concept about managerialism. It's about organizational effectiveness, because in some points you have some, you can call it as a key performance indicators inside the organizational or the parameters to be the indicator to see that is it your work, it's effective or not, is it efficient or not, is it good for your organizational health or not, like that. This is also related about the human and cultural context in communications. There's also some concept about how human resource and employee participations, because when you are later you dig deeper about organizational communications, there are also some patterns to map how communicators and communicant inside the organizational interact with each other. And this is also, there is also the difference about formal organization and informal organizations. Or when you add something like online organization, it's also interesting to be in a good discussion how they organize this maybe online organizations. There's also system and culture inside the organization. So maybe you can always find some organization that has its strong value for a religious or some capitalism or any other value that they bring to you. Okay, still about organization, you can see on the slide that I have some steps about organizational formations, maybe, because we start with forming, storming, norming, performing until the adjourning. Maybe one of you or some of you that has joined an organization experience this thing. On the forming stage, we have little agreement, unclear purpose, because we just searching of our patterns, how this organizational goes. Maybe some of you wants to be media person or as a mediapreneur, and you are talk about your friends each other to develop your ideas. This is maybe the form or the forming stage of the organization. And the next is about the storming. As you can see, as you know about storm, and this is the key point on storming is also about conflict. So because you did not have any clear purpose, you are maybe have a little quarrel about what is the objective of this organization. So this is the storming phase, and the next is about the norming. You are now has it this agreement or consensus, oh okay, I have this objective and I want these organizations reach some indicators on norming. And the next is performing, because we have clear vision and purpose. The last is about adjourning. You have that task completion, and maybe because the vision is clear, you have that recognitions. What will be your organization be like? Because from the first stage, the forming, storming, norming, performing, you are giving the best for the group, for the organization, or maybe I give you that example as a mediapreneur. So the next is how about people recognize about the performing or performance of your group. Okay, so the next about culture or culture differences when you are communicating with each other. Intercultural communications refer to the process of interaction between people from different cultures. So it also means on your human and cultural communications because we have some key concept that we always have that cultural differences. In some points, or you can dig deeper later on cross and intercultural communications, we have always some concepts about individualism and collectivism. As you can reflect on yourself, is it our country is referred to individualism person or collectivism? Indonesia with its term of gotong royong maybe or musyawarah mufakat is acknowledged as the collectivism culture aspect. But maybe in some cases you can find that there are also some people or some communities or some cultures that tends to be an individualized. They didn't really into collective over individual, or maybe vice versa. You can also find something interesting when you are categorizing one culture into another in individual or collectivism aspect. And the next is about power distance, or how power has its gaps between the government and the society. Is it the high gap or the high power distance or low? As you can see that some of you as a citizen can always be making a complaint about government. Is it also some indicators that we have the low power distance? But how about the other countries? Is it we are labeled as the high power distance? Because we can always mention the government, but the next maybe there's also some persecution or something else that happens. And the next is uncertainty avoidance, because we have always have this uncertainty in a culture. We don't know fully about the other culture. And the next is about masculinity and femininity. We have also some concept that differentiate one country to another. This is a country that masculine, country that feminine. It doesn't mean that the country wearing trouser, the other country wearing a skirt, but the value. The masculinity is about the way to characterize culture that value assertiveness and competitiveness, while femininity is about cultural preference for collaboration, nurturing, and harmony. And maybe you can find that some culture that men should be the breadwinner of the family, but the other culture breadwinner also women. This is also interesting to discuss. Okay, related to the culture, as you can see on the slide, there's also the importance of culture in communications. We have demographic change. Why is it important? Because in our demographic changes, we have also always has the demand to understand the other culture. It's also related with the next is cultural sensitivity, because we are sensitive with each other culture, because maybe in some culture some things value more and the other culture is something is value less, that you should understand the culture fully or little by little to lower the tense of culture sensitivity. And the next is economic independency. This is also interesting to discuss, because in some cases economic independency or interdependency is always related about the culture. Maybe you can find some advertisement related to the culture in one international bank makes some advertisement about how culture in the context of business is also related with this how culture perceive different in each culture. Maybe from that ad, as you can see, that there's also the examples that people are labeled as the polite person if he or she is finished the food. But in some other cultures, finishing the food means that he or she asks more. So this is also different understanding with just one aspect of culture like that, and it also means so much that we have to, or this is the significance to understand each other culture. And the next about communication technology, because technology right now is also become more massive, and technology didn't have some each understanding about each culture. So that maybe I can give you some examples about that, because when you are using Google Assistant with Siri, it always have its difference when it related with the culture. In Google Assistant, maybe there's also some understandings about some key points that we are saying to that Google Assistant based on the contextual level. But on Siri, maybe there's also some difference that when you are asked Siri to give you jokes, they just strictly said that I cannot give you jokes because I'm not funny like that, and it's straightforward. But in Google Assistant, it also it gives different stance, different tone, different style, and it always serves you another options to give you some jokes, even though if it's not really funny, but they try to give you in and not in what is it, cold style, but it's also more warm and friendly style. This is also, maybe you can see that technology also related with the culture and the context of the technology that brings you, or the producer of the technology. The next is about politeness. Why politeness as the concept that bring here about the importance is just because politeness is one of the universal aspects that you can use about the culture. This is the parameter. You are polite or not. This is the universal indicator that you are interact with each other culture. And the last is about communication competence. This is very significant for you to understand because each culture has its value, especially for the example, maybe in a business meeting, in American person tends to use the opportunity, maybe a little time before the meeting, to chat with the clients just to digging some informations. But in some cultures, some other cultures, maybe Japan, even if they have extra time before the meeting, they don't want to be disturbed to chat about business things, business aspect like that. So you have to be more alert, you have to be or practice some skills for communication competence, because it's really significant and interesting to be discussed as your basis to interact with each other. Okay, this is the last. It's about dynamic of personal relations on digital society. So maybe you are not a stranger for a digital society, because on our course, your first course as a student for international undergraduate program is also an online class. So this is, I think, easy for you to understand, but maybe there are also some concepts that we have to understand better about human and cultural communications. We have always some key concept that all societies are cultural construct. If we understand culture as the set of values and beliefs that informs and motivates people behavior, and the relationship take on a digital dimensions. Maybe from this class, you and your friends is also meeting online, and this is also related with the informations, because on digital society we have maybe our currency is about informations. And identity, culture, and value, this is also interesting to dig deeper about this, because when you have your maybe social media account, is it Twitter, is it Instagram or TikTok maybe, some of you may be not just making one account, but maybe 2, 3, and maybe 100 accounts, just to differentiate your account as yourself, your account as maybe the fans of your idol, your account as an online shop, or maybe any others. And it also means something, presenting something. And it also gives us some meanings about that. And there's also the concept of space and time, labor and power, that I can give you some hints on the last slide. Okay, so this is the last. Maybe as you can see on the slide, there are also some graphics there. You can always see or read on Castells, Manuel Castells. You can find her name about network society, and I just give you some hints about what is that we learn about network society. It's about informations, sign, symbol, and meaning. It's always be the informations or the currency of this digital society. And the next is about identity, culture, and value. As I said before, there are also the function of the identity on your digital society is about legitimizing. So you are valid as a person, you are valid as a owner of your social media account. And the next is about resistance, maybe because on your offline relations you can be a rebel child, rebel son, like that, but you can always project something or your identity, or project your identity on online space, like that. This is also related with the space and time. The next point is about space of laws and timeless. What is the meaning of space on the context of digital society? Maybe you are always experience this, that space is this Zoom or online class is about your space. So there's no exact place like the usual place, like we are going to the class at room BA 501 to do our class, but we are meeting online, and you are from your home, you are from cafe, you are from wherever you want to go online like that. This is about space and time on the context of digital society. And next is about labor. This is also interesting because generic labor can always be replaced by a machine. So maybe some of you always also knows about the news that some professions that maybe can be replaced by machines, and in the context of digital society we have self-programmable labor, that when you have the skill, specific skill, it is more important than the generic labor. Maybe you can find some freelance as the as the job, as the occupations, because this is the categorized as the self-programmable labor. And the next is the important one is about power, because on digital society we have the concept or as programmers and switchers. Programmers is people who plan, network program. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg is as the programmer, and switcher is some influencer inside the digital society. So as I end the explanations about programmers and switchers, this is also my materials that giving to you on this moment. I hope you can understand the material. If not, then we can continue this from our log or any other space that we are organized for this class. Okay, thank you for your participations, class. I hope you stay healthy, and I hope we can meet offline as soon as possible. Thank you.